Brian King here again. One of the questions I get a lot, or comments that are made, are, Brian, you're always so positive. Or how can you be so positive all the time? Well, the reality is, I'm not. I'm a human being. Thoughts of anxiety, depression, anger slip into my head all day long, like any other human being. But one thing I have to my advantage is I've been studying mindfulness and meditation for over 20 years. And one of the main benefits of that is it's taught me to be able to be an observer of the thoughts that enter my head. An observer that gives me the option of not jumping on board. So it doesn't mean that I don't have negative thoughts. They're there, they're constantly, they're like weeds. It's something our brain does. Because our brain's primary function is to keep us alive, is to maintain our survival. And the way it does that is by always being on the lookout for what might be a threat to us. So it creates these thoughts of anxiety, like beware, be careful, don't do that, because it's trying to keep us safe. And our brain doesn't differentiate between a physical and a psychological threat. It values them the same way, which is one of the reasons why the thought of meeting a new person, the thought of not doing poor on a test can throw us into a panic, because our body interprets it the same way. It might as well be a saber-toothed tiger, the more time we spend perseverating on it. But the positivity that I choose to live from is because I choose my thoughts deliberately, period. When I get this flood of anxiety, frustration, sometimes I get caught up in it for a little bit, but then I go back to being the observer that I've learned how to do and say, wait a minute, what the heck am I doing here? Why am I riding this train? This is not where I want to be. So I will reconnect with my breathing, get myself centered in the moment, and then choose what thought I want to begin working with. And often that thought is gratitude. Look around me for everything that's working, everything that is worthy of smiling at. And that's what gets me back on track. But here's something to remember. I need to do this over and over and over again throughout the day. It's not that I choose one positive thought and just stay in it and I feel forever in Disneyland. That's not how it works. Because your mind is always being pulled. It's always being challenged. You're always being encouraged to be depressed, be anxious, be angry. But each time you see that invitation, you become aware of it and you say, yeah, I see what you're doing there, brain. I see that little gremlin you're trying to put into my head. I'm not going there. I don't want to use that. That's not the experience I want to have right now. Then you collect yourself, you gather your attention, you choose what thought you're going to live from instead, and you step forward. And it's not really exhausting. It's not like doing barbell curls all day long. It's a practice that you refine over time. And the better you get at it, the time will come where it becomes automatic. And it becomes the way you naturally respond to negative thinking. I have many lessons like this in my membership program that I teach my clients. And this stuff's really powerful, if you really want to experience it, especially if you have problems with anxiety and depression and things that just tend to overwhelm you. But hopefully this explanation reminds you that I'm human like everybody else. I just happen to be trained in specific disciplines that allow me to manage it much more effectively. And I'm happy to teach you more in depth how these things work if you're interested. But if not, hopefully what I've shared here has been of value to you. And if you know anybody else that could benefit from it, go ahead and pass it on. It's great talking to you again.